Alright, ladies and gentlemen, last reaction for today. It's time for more Jujutsu Kaisen. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reaction and review. On the last one, we pretty much saw Sukuna in like this super evolved state that he had to take on after what is his name? Hajime blasted him with lightning, and in this state, he was basically, in Hajime's eyes, seen as in a state of perfection. Forearms in a state where no movement was wasted, no breath was shaking. Everything about Sukuna in this state was beyond what Hajime could comprehend, and all he saw was perfection. So Sukuna, taking that model he had from Maharaga and using a slash to almost obliterate Hajime, and Hajime dodges, but then Hajime is then left with this big cascading net of slashes that looked like he was not able to escape it. And we don't see the current state of Hajime at this moment, but we do see the domain expansion of Kinji break as we see Uruume with Kinji, and we also see Higuruma along with Yuji as they're coming down to, square up against Sukuna. So it should be interesting to see where we go from here with chapter 239, Foolish Survivor. And we are here at Lake Gosho Colony in the Iwate Prefecture. And we got this woman in this Lolita, Gothlita looking outfit as she's jumping down, and her eyes are kind of whited. Her eyes are kind of just like jet black with like colored irises. Kind of reminds me of that one resurrected sorcerer who used the air around her. As her own curse technique. I forget her specific name, but I think she was of the Sun Clan, Star Clan, or Moon Clan. I forget which one she was a part of, or Sun Squad, or whichever squad. Someone will remind me. I'm probably going to look it up once I'm done with this chapter. But she's here in what looks to be like this. She's in front of a lake, and she's going, "What the heck's going on? Is this an act of desperation because the culling game didn't go as planned?" And then she disappears from sight. "Each additional rule to the culling game took it further from the bloodbath it was intended to be. That's probably because the awakened sorcerers were reluctant to kill. So boredom led to soldiers invading the colonies, and even that wasn't enough for him. So now what? What does Kenjaku want? He prolonged past sorcerers' lives as cursed objects and gave them a second chance at life. But now he wants to take that away? Talk about cruel!" And as she's running through a forest, something hits her directly in the face, and it starts to choke her. It's like this water curse spirit, and it engulfs her head, and she's not able to get rid of it because it's just around her head, and she can't pull it away. But we have Kenjaku, who's above her in a tree as she's slowly being drowned. Like, she's unable to breathe. She's slowly being drowned by this cursed spirit. And he goes, "If something tastes bland, add seasoning. If it's too rich, dilute it. To me, you guys are like seasoning or water. No emotion necessary." And then she tries to... Then she holds her mouth as she causes her hair to swirl around, and it swirls around into a point which she fires. Which she fires, and Kenjaku's already gone. And then all of a sudden, something happens to the water curse spirit that's around her head. And it becomes like a block of ice with her head still like frozen inside, I think. "I'm usually dispassionate, but I do detest needless waste." As he flicks this cursed spirit that's around her head, and mind you, she's like kicking her feet trying to get it off her head because her head is floating around it, but he flicks, like he takes his finger and he flicks it, and then there's just like this ping sound that resonates inside of this chamber her head is frozen inside. And then there's like a boom sound later on as we cut to birds flying in the air. And then Kenjaku's asking, how do you know where the players are? Yo. Someone is speaking to Kenjaku going, how do you know where the players are? And then we see this woman with a massive amount of blood emanating from her head area. Like she's slumped on the ground and she looks like she's dead. But Kenjaku speaks going, tracking isn't hard once you've tagged the reincarnated sorcerers with cursed objects and the awakened sorcerers with cursed seals. Not that I've had to. They've been surprisingly reluctant to leave their colonies. Adapting to society and getting hunted down are both unattractive options. She's already dead. But you're still talking. Is that typical for people who've lived as long as you? Notification of points is no longer happening. Well, we don't have many friends left. But you can be my friend, Hazenoki. Yeah, right. I think, isn't Hazenoki the dude who's capable of making any part of his body explode? And he was with that reincarnated cursed sorcerer who used, like, tags to cause different things to happen, or use tags as part of his curse technique. I forgot his name. It was something I forgot. But the dude that can make his body explode, yeah, he's with Kenjaku now. Hazenoki's with him now. Yeah, right. You're gonna call me that, huh? Great, but there are conditions. 1, you must never bore me. 2, you must be my equal. I was joking. You took that seriously? I've had enough of friends with long hair. Oh, that's too bad. Wait a moment. As it shows Kenjaku pulling out a smartphone? It's pulling out a smartphone. And it shows an image of him witnessing Satoru Gojo being cut, like cleaved in half by Sukuna earlier on. Ah, I see. Extension of curse technique targets. Looking good. Ah, he lost. If Gojo had won, he'd have come for you next. Then I could have expected backup. I wouldn't count on any. I've used barrier techniques to conceal cursed spirits around myself and Shinjuku. They're on the lookout for certain things. One is cursed energy volume. If even one leaves, I'll know it. I know the aggregate cursed energy for all the sorcerers in Shinjuku at all times. Okotsu, whose number 2 is especially easy to notice. Of course, I have shared vision with all the cursed spirits, so I can see what they see. In addition to Maki Zenin, a physically gifted awakened type, there's Meimei's younger brother who I suspect has a cursed technique for spatial transference, which means I can't only be on guard against sorcerers. Ooh, interesting. We don't know that much about Meimei's little brother Uyui. But Kenjaku suspect that he has a cursed technique for spatial transference. That's interesting. Did Meimei's capabilities and why he's always around his big sister, has that ever been called in question before? Don't worry, I'll go through chat later on. But Hazenoki goes, so you're ready to run at any time? Lacking confidence, huh? My point is that it's just the two of us. As something comes barreling through the forest, and it's a whole host of cursed spirits as they try to bear down on Hazenoki. Do you really think you can stand against me until help arrives? As Kenjaku intends to kill Hazenoki, and in front of all these cursed spirits is a tooth, which we know Hazenoki likes to blow up the vast majority of the time, and it explodes like a good portion of the forest. And as the whole forest goes up, Hazenoki's jumping backwards, and a big cursed spirit appears right behind him. But Hazenoki takes one of his eyes, he just rips it out and throws it at this cursed spirit, which he throws it into the mouth because this cursed spirit is trying to eat him. he throws his eye into the mouth of this one particular cursed spirit that's behind him, and it explodes inside of its stomach. But then something appears behind Hazenoki as Kenjaku says, I know you can use reverse curse technique. That's why I aimed for your head. As it shows like a whole bunch of buzzing, flying cursed spirits that have like needle noses, and they all appear around Hazenoki and hit him directly in the neck. So he can't really move. That's why I aimed for your head. Even if you suck, you are one of the reincarnated ones, aren't you? Too bad. This way, you can't apply reverse curse technique from the neck down. Like the woman said. What do you want? Huh? Oh, didn't I tell you? I'm talkative, so I forget what I say, especially if it's to someone I don't care about. I'm ending the culling game. What? It's ending? Killing all the players is the binding vow. Then I'll activate a mass merger of the people of Japan with the higher being that is Tengen. Oh, okay. So he's just gonna end the culling game and just kill everybody. Okay, so we kind of knew that already, but the fact that he said like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm ending the culling game. Killing all the players is the binding vow. Then I'll activate a mass merger of the people of Japan with the higher being that is Tengen. He's gonna just kill everyone and then merge them into Tengen. But for what purpose, though? I don't get it. Don't you want to see what you haven't seen? And don't you want confirmation that what you think is interesting actually is interesting? Is that not what life is about? Beats me. You can eat it for all I care. And then it just shows a spray of blood in another direction. And then we get Kenjaku, who's Yo! It's Takaba! Yo! It's Takaba! Yo! An encounter with Takaba? A man whose curse technique, who he doesn't fully understand, is comparable in power to Gojo's in terms of just how powerful it is capable of being? And he's right here in front of Kenjaku? Huh? Seriously? At last, I have arrived! In Hakodate! And then they're silent as Kenjaku goes, no, this is Iwate. Has he come to fight me on his own? I don't see crows. Does that mean Mei isn't watching? Judging from the cursed energy levels, perhaps the younger brother's cursed technique is responsible for this sudden appearance. Their choice of assassin makes no sense, which is disturbing, but... And then Kenjaku conjures up some cursed spirits as they try and hit where Takaba is. Awakened players bore me. They're just here to fill out the player roster. The only one I sense any potential in is Hiromi Higuruma. And then it shows that from the spot from where Kenjaku thinks he killed Takaba, Takaba gets out of the hole. He gets out of the hole completely fine and goes, darn monk, you trying to kill me? Now you've done it, I'll toss you in the clink, so get ready! Much to Kenjaku's surprise. What just happened? I've never sensed this before. I feel like my attack worked, but it didn't have an effect. The world is full of thrills, but the most thrilling of all is when comedians who are only there to pad out the cast end up stealing the show. Indeed, I don't disagree. And Takaba's fine. He doesn't have a scratch on him. Yo, are we about to find out fully what Takaba's curse technique actually is? He's right here in front of Kenjaku. Yo, let's go! I thought we were going to cut back to Higuruma and Yuji falling in front of Sukuna. I didn't think we were going to end with an individual whose curse technique is capable of bringing whatever Takaba finds funny into reality, facing off against Kenjaku. Ooh, I like this chapter. Yo, Halster, Quants, good to see you. He was the accomplice of Reggie. That's his name, Reggie. Thank you. Paperbone guy being Reggie, I mean. We were literally just talking about him like 1 or 2 chapters ago. We'll talk about his fine as long as Kenjaku uses... As Kenjaku's about to experience the... Yes! I love the look of shock on Kenjaku's face. Have we ever seen that before? No. No. This is complete and utter shock. Because Kenjaku's been cool this whole time. And he's looking at Takaba like he's some second-rate human being who doesn't have any power. And he just like, yeah, I'm just gonna kill him. And then when Takaba gets up out of the hole like he's part of the Toon Force, and it's all like, you trying to kill me? What's wrong with you? And Kenjaku's all like, huh? Because this is the first time that Kenjaku's legitimately tried to kill someone, and they got back up as if they got back up completely fine as if nothing happened. So here's the thing. So we already got Toon Force in One Piece, thanks to Luffy's Gear 5. Now we're about to have some ridiculous comedic Toon Force, thanks to Takaba's curse technique, which we still don't know the full scope of. Let me go here. Fumihiko Takaba. If I go down to his special ability, so he has great cursed energy. Impressive levels of cursed energy that flared up enough for Reggie and Hazenoki to be on guard when he was only going to tell a joke. When Fumihiko first attacked Hazenoki, his cursed energy increased dramatically and Reggie took note of the dramatic shift in output. Fumihiko's reinforced attacks are able to knock Hazenoki through several buildings. Now, his technique is called Comedian. I thought I didn't know the name of it, but it's actually called Comedian. So apologies, let me apologize for not correctly saying the name of it, because it slipped my mind what the name of his curse technique is. Before anyone gets in comments saying like his technique is Comedian, you can go ahead and remove that comment now. It's called Comedian. When Fumihiko thinks of something he's certain will be funny, it becomes reality. It's a technique with enough potential to oppose even Satoru Gojo, but Fumihiko is utterly clueless of his own power. Thus, very little is known about how the technique functions or goes about bringing his humorous thoughts into reality. However, it is likely that Fumihiko's technique is what allowed him to survive numerous bombings from Hazenoki and heal from the first injuries he suffered without a reverse curse technique. And also, today, how he survived getting attacked by Kenjaku without a reverse curse technique. His own innate technique allows him to survive an attack from Kenjaku. Let that be known. Because here's a deeper description. This technique allows the user to manifest whatever they think is funny into reality. The effects of this technique cover a wide variety, including but not being limited to conjuring objects or substances from nothing and healing themselves without the use of reverse curse technique. And it also shows here that back in chapter 220, it is suggested by Angel that Hanakurusu surviving her injuries caused by Sukuna could have been due to Fumihiko being nearby when she was injured. Near the end of their fight with Iori Hazenoki, near the end of their fight, Fumihiko uses innate technique once again to cover himself in ankake sauce, causing Iori's punch to slide off of him. A frustrated Iori notes how Fumihiko should have died 5 times from his explosions already, but he seemingly suffered no injuries without using reverse curse technique. And the kanji used for the name of this technique means superhuman. Chojin! Kenjaku is about to face off against Toon Force. You know, it would be funny if your face turned into a potato. Though that comedic Toon Force could be ruined if domain expansion is used, because he doesn't domain expansion cancel curse techniques? Hold on. Let's go back to domain expansions themselves. Domain expansions, just to go over the specifics. Let's see. So, lethal domains. Let's see. Most supreme technique. Imbues their curse technique. Allow them. Okay. Specific hand. Let's see. Let me go down here because I'm trying to find it. Non-lethal domains. Okay. Lethal domains. Lethal domains require my skill. I'm trying to find the one where it says that it cancels out if it cancels out curse techniques from other people. I need a refresher. Allow me. Without enclosing barrier in the future with his curse, the domain doesn't have a guarantee to hit. It's meant to be lethal. Drawbacks. High risk. Provide a side who's completed. Countermeasures. Can't miss can sometimes be countered with cursed energy reinforcement. That this is an impractical method. Only true defense against can't miss attacks for those who can expand their own domain are anti-domain techniques. Nearly impossible to escape from the inside. Cubic volume. The only thing that pops up for things canceling each other out when it comes to domain expansion are domain clashes. But it doesn't necessarily... I'm not seeing it saying that it cancels out a user's ability to use curse techniques within it. I need to read over this with a fine-tooth comb to make sure. But it says, advanced barrier within a domain, user's curse techniques are improved, and any that are activated are guaranteed to hit. Caster's abilities are amplified. Sure hit factor is derived from the barrier's embedded technique, which is what makes this type of domain considered lethal. Kenji Akadi's domain technically possesses a hit. I'm trying to make sure that I find it, but it doesn't show. It doesn't. Sukuna could summon Maharaga while caught in Gojo's domain. Okay, that's what I thought. It's not domain expansion, domain amplification. Okay, yeah. That domain amplification is used to dispel, like, curse techniques and other things. So that's what domain amplification can do. Domain expansion, that's different. So it's domain amplification that can do it. Just makes the user's attack guaranteed to hit and negates defensive aspects of curse techniques such as limitless to make the domain attack sure hit reach. Yes. So it's domain amplification. And if I go over to domain amplification, just to reinforce what Quantz has said, yes, anti-domain technique that envelops the user in their domain to neutralize any opposing curse technique or domain expansion they come in contact with. Yes, so Quantz is right, and that's what it is. It's domain amplification that can cancel out different things, but not domain expansions themselves. But this is an interesting chapter. We got a curse user, and I'm trying to think, is this the same woman who was beaten by Yuta earlier, the one that could bend light around? The one that could bend light and air around herself? And it doesn't even show the next chapter, so I can't even look at the synopsis for it. But oh well. Yeah, it doesn't even pull it up because they really don't keep this. They really don't keep this wiki updated as it should be. But I'm done looking at that. Different woman. I figured as much. Even though the sclera of the eye is very reminiscent, it's clearly a different woman. So this isn't the first person to have sclera of the eyes that's just pitch black, and then you have like the colored irises in the middle. So there's two individuals like that. But this one's now dead because Kenjaku basically just froze her head and I guess blew it up because there's a boom sound after it gets frozen. Looks similar, though I think her power is to do with her hair. Yeah. I wonder about the eyes being black, though. I wonder if it's a past thing. Maybe it's someone along the lineage of that one reincarnated sorcerer, because this is now the second person that has had black sclera of the eye. Even though their powers are different. The one we saw from beforehand, she could bend light around herself, and she didn't wear clothes. She just bent the air around her to clothe her. And, you know, like weird ways, it didn't just stay that way. She just let it be in random spots. But now we have one that basically has the same type of eyes as she does, but she's able to, her curse technique, I'm guessing, functions with her hair, which isn't able to do anything to Kenjaku, who freezes her head and potentially, I think, blows it up and kills her. Or at least causes it to implode from the inside from pressure, I guess. I don't know because her head still looks intact, but there's a massive amount of blood from where her head is. So I don't know the full specifics of it. But she's dead. And Kenjaku is probably a design choice, though. Probably. I'm not gonna overthink it too much, Quantz. I'm not gonna overthink it. But Kenjaku pretty much laid out his plans again, saying that he's ending the Culling game and he's going to kill every single person who's left and then merge them with Tengen. But to what massive purpose. We still don't know. Like, we know he wants to do that. Think her name is Udo? Yes, that's her name, Udo. And then we have that one dude with the big giant pompadour that he can fire cursed energy out of. I forget his name as well. It's not Grigori, but it's something. We'll talk about them later. Kenjaku, we still don't know the full reason why Kenjaku wants to kill everyone, merge them into Tengen. We don't know the specifics of why he wants to do it. We know that's what he intends to do, but we don't know his true end goal because he hasn't explained it to anybody. And even in this chapter, he says he's talkative, but he hasn't fully said the reasons as to why he wants to do that. He says it like, I just want to see what happens. That's not a good enough reason. That seems like a cop-out reason to say that. I just want to see what happens if I merge. If I merge every dead person and their spirit into Tengen. I just want to see what happens. That's literally the only reason he's given for why he's doing what he's doing. I just want to see what happens. So we still don't know the true meaning. And I'm pretty sure there is a real meaning why he wants to do this. Kenjaku wants to find out what would happen, he says. Yeah, it's sort of a dichotomy. Sukuna lives in the present only and isn't afraid of death or the future. Kenjaku is obsessed with the future and the unknown. It's kind of an odd mindset when you think about it. Like, he just wants to see what happens just because. I wonder if Kenjaku has a hidden motive. Of course, he's got to. A villain saying, like, I just want to see what happens when I do this. All this death and destruction, the sealing of Gojo, and then a subsequent later on death of Gojo because of Sukuna. All this, and Kenjaku is just in the background just doing what he wants. There's a reason for everything. There's a purpose for everything. You don't just transplant your brain into numerous bodies that you can have an advantage over all these millennia, all these decades, all these centuries, and you don't have a reason. You don't have a motive. 1,000 years and you couldn't think of, and you're just like, I just want to see what happens. How stupid does Kenjaku think we are? There's always an ulterior reason. There's always an ulterior motive. I want to believe he has a motive too. It's too planned and meticulous. Yes, everything that has transpired from the whole Shibuya incident where he purposefully sealed Gojo just so his plans could further. It's too well thought out for it to just be like, I did all this just to see what'll happen. It's too detailed of a plan. It's too well thought out and well executed for it to be just like, I just want to see what happens. That's what a person with no plan says. This man planned it so much that this was, I want to say, set in motion well before Gojo was even born. Like, back when he was facing off against previous users of the Six Eyes, yeah, he made sure to kill every single one he came across. This was planned a long time ago. We don't know. Also, the fact he birthed Yuji, but he is also immortal and 1,000 years old, so maybe he got bored too. We just gotta see. I honestly feel like there's an ulterior motive as to why he's doing this. He's not saying, though. He's keeping his cards close to the chest. Extremely so. I have to say, out of all the villains I've seen, the relationship between Sukuna and Kenjaku needs to be explained. They do have different but similar motives and ideologies. But when will the difference start to show and what happens then? Exactly. See, here's the thing. Sukuna is a type of individual who stands at the top of some of the strongest people out there right now. I mean, with Gojo gone, he stands at the top as the strongest currently. And we got but he doesn't think the same way that Kenjaku does. Versus Kenjaku, who has been living all these years, got all these plans. Sure, he can talk to Sukuna, but if they were to fight, it would be kind of serious. But we don't know to what extent it'll be like if they were to face off against one another. Because what do you do when you have two supremely strong individuals in a world together who don't think the same way? This higher being merger creature could be beyond Sukuna. That's something to think about. We've had Sukuna be the epitome of the strongest for a very long time. And now we have Sukuna, who's standing at the top of everyone now that Gojo's gone. But what happens when Kenjaku creates this merger creature with every dead person he kills for the culling game, and also merges with Tengen? What if that thing winds up being stronger than Sukuna? You think Sukuna's gonna take that line down? You think Sukuna's just gonna allow it to happen? I highly doubt. I highly doubt he would allow it. The true epitome of cursed energy is what Kenjaku is after for whatever motive. Surely it has to be beyond Sukuna. I mean, Sukuna is like up there when it comes to like the highest form of cursed energy, but that is just on Sukuna's level though. I'm pretty sure Sukuna isn't the epitome. And I would dare to reason that Kenjaku's trying to create something beyond Sukuna. And since it would probably be a cursed spear that he would try and control, because think about it, if he turns this creature into like a cursed spirit that he could turn into a ball and he could consume, he could therefore control that thing. And if he's able to control that thing, then what's to stop him from setting it loose on Sukuna, who could stand against him? I'm just drawing some conclusions here. There's no weight behind it. I'm just theorizing. Just curious if Kenjaku or Sukuna will attempt to backstab one another, and if so, who will do it first? We'll have to see. We'll have to see, because I honestly feel with Sukuna in his four-armed state that we saw 1,000 years ago, Kenjaku out here saying that he intends to end the culling game and kill everyone and then merge them with Tengen. We still don't know the true ulterior motive he intends to do with it, but it just stands to reason like something at some point has got to give. Kenjaku and Sukuna are probably going to meet up again, but I don't think it's going to be on terms of all like, hey, you did your thing? Cool, I'm going to head out and I'm going to chill. Because then Sukuna will just be, to Kenjaku, he doesn't like to have loose ends, apparently, because a lot of people he's been siding with are either dead or he's killed them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to come up with a way to take down Sukuna at some point. Kenjaku met Sukuna? Oh yeah, it's been a while. Regardless, I really hope Sukuna doesn't turn good. I hope not either. Like, this is not Naruto. Not every villain that shows up needs to turn into like a good guy. It's all like, I'm gonna fight on your side now because I don't like him. But don't think I'm buddies with you or anything. Once I'm done, I'm going to kill you. I don't know if I don't see Sukuna being like, all right, I'm going to fight with you guys because if I don't, then this guy's just going to mess things up for everybody. I highly doubt it's going to be like that. At best, a mutual fight against this merger higher being, but it will leave a bitter taste. Possibly, but we'll have to see. We're just going to have to see. We're not going on break next week. So we got a new chapter that's going to be dropping next Sunday, so it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here, especially with Takaba facing off against Kenjaku. Kenjaku, a man who orchestrated everything that's happening right now against an individual who essentially has a curse technique that runs on Toon Force. That ought to be an interesting situation. But family's here, Denim's starting to get a little bit loud, so I actually think this is a good note for me to end on, so I can go ahead and get myself some food, then it's back to recording Spider-Man. But overall, I enjoyed today's My Hero Academia chapter. I especially enjoyed that. But I also enjoyed this one as well, because now Kenjaku is about to face off against a curse technique that really functions on the ridiculous. Sukuna isn't evil or good. He lives according to his own pleasures and desires. If people want to try to classify it, it's up to them. Sukuna doesn't care. Sukuna is just Sukuna. If he's good or bad, he really doesn't care, but he's just going to do what he wants, and no one is able to stop him. That's kind of what he's at right now. But we'll cross that line when we get to it after Kenjaku with Takaba. So right now, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go and draw too close because family's here. And, you know, it tends to get a little bit loud whenever they get home. So I would go ahead and end it right now. But, because I'm hungry. But overall, I enjoyed this chapter. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when you have, all the power of Kenjaku and everything he's known to use against, I find this funny. So therefore, I'm not going to let it kill me. Kenjaku versus Toon Force. That's what we're getting. Ought to be interesting. But I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.